Hey, you said 8 week 2.
Yeah.
We're planning on the same topic as the last episode. So, what do the Waynes do
Yeah.
with wealth to either be a similar power or a similar responsibility? And two, part one, we spoke about it in a lens of an economic perspective.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what do you do with your money, the power or responsibility? And now we're going to talk theory on how that donates wealth, responsibility and power.
Probably people as well, and also embracing it a little bit the other one. That's the idea of this one.
Okay.
But I kind of want to start off with this one in regards to Bruce. We see Bruce, so we were introduced to Bruce after his parents being killed, unalived.
So,
And Gordon puts his arm around Bruce's shoulders and goes, "It's going to be okay." The smallest gestures, but the nicest gestures, sort of thing.
yes.
And then we see Bruce sort of. It's going to be a regret to a degree as to where he was at the time when it's going to be went down. Like he speaks to Alfred, and he goes, "Alfred, I wasn't strong enough. I should have been stronger." And Alfred's there going, "You couldn't have done anything. You were
Yeah.
You could have done anything." And it almost becomes Bruce's driving force to evolve.
Yeah.
His parents, like he doesn't push himself for the sake of pushing himself. He pushes himself to just get better, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be and he goes to bet, I think. So he goes to Jack Chill. It's going to be a case. Joe Chill, that's it. Joe Chill after the court case, and his intention is to kill him. Unalive, goddamn.
He has much to stay.
Yeah, but
Well,
and then he's beaten to it by somebody else.
Yeah.
But it's interesting in that moment he you can almost tell he actually regrets his choice. Even Rachel at the time calls him out, man. This is not the way we're doing it. Like he is in the car and she sort of shows the gun to Rachel, and she slaps him. Probably just has a go over again. You're better than this sort of thing. And he just engulfed in just a deep depression, and all that sort of stuff. And and he's almost robbed of the opportunity for vengeance because he thinks he's strong at that point. I'd actually argue he's weaker at this point, simply because he hasn't really faced him. He's just sort of take the easy way out, sort of thing. He has a gun, get rid of a problem, sort of thing. And then he decides, and he goes to speak to Capone.
God, no, it's not the poet. It's like no. Do you mean what is his name? Falcone.
That's it. Yeah, Falcone. Yeah. And at the time, he's kind of acting. He's acting tough. He's kind of acting tough for some stuff. He sort of walks into his bar and talks to Al Capone. And Al Capone there at him. Falcone. God, that's so simple.
Yeah. Definitely good.
And Falcone sits him down and literally tells him how the world is. He literally goes, "You can't disappear from yourself. Like you are Bruce Wayne. You ain't gonna, you are not gonna disappear. You don't understand the world. You don't understand this world. You don't understand the people underneath it. You don't understand their problems, all that type of stuff. You sort of live above them." And Al Capone's first quote is, "People fear what you don't understand." And Bruce in the first instance goes, "Oh, that's a fair point. I don't understand." He almost almost irritated by the fact, and he looks to kind of understand the criminals. He goes and thieves. He goes and robs. I think that's as far as he gets in regards to the sort of the criminal sort of ways, from what was shown anyway. Um, to the point where he's picked up in a prison. I think it's like a Korean prison or something. He's just like beating up criminals. I'm still not truly understanding what it's about, but just sort of thinking, no, if he can get strong this way, to solve his problem. Until Raz picks him up, and Raz kind of gives him another Raz to check, and kind of goes, "You can't correct people like this. You're not helping Gotham because you're all in Korea. You're not helping your issues out. You're just kind of money away and raging."
Yes.
Um, and Bruce again is trying to show a different perspective again as early. Oh crap, he's got a fair point. Um, and then he makes his journey to the mountain, and that journey's awesome. The way they film that is nuts. Like on the time and sort of stuff. And
I remember the hideout, like the League of Assassins.
yeah,
Can't remember where it is. I should know that.
yeah. Um, but it's so cool. And the first thing we're saying that Raz is like merciless. Like he gets up from this mountain and Raz will just beat him down. He gets off, he's exhausted. Raz beats him to the floor. He's like, "You still want this? You still want this?" And he's like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." And his rage has gotten there. His pure spite and anger has got him to the top of the mountain. And I can understand that to a degree. I rely quite a bit on anger to get through things. Spite and anger is kind of my fuel sometimes, not all the times. I'm sort of switching between the two now, depending on what use I need. Um, and Raz begins to break him down in the training. Like, your father's death wasn't your fault. It was your father's fault, and he does not like that. And so he breaks down some more, breaks down some more, and then he kind of begin to evolve, and we come to almost like a parade of assassins, I guess. And it's him versus Raz and two swords, two samurai swords, and he's actually trying to find Raz in this sort of parade of ninjas. And it's interesting. Raz's first instinct is to use bullets to disorientate him. I need to go back to the previous opening scene where we see Bruce fall down this sort of drain or well, let's say well, and the bats just engulf him. And you see just fear. You see fear just spread across his face. Um, just the pure white of that young Bruce. And again, then Raz kind of knows of Bruce's story, and yeah, he uses bats to disorientate Bruce. But after a while, Bruce begins to sort of embrace it. Like he kind of gets past his fear as he becomes stronger. He sort of pushes past it. And I wanted to speak this to a sense of what fear feels like, and how you can push past it, and what the ramifications are on your own body.
Right.
So I'm gonna get slightly into it here because I said I would do, and it's only right. And it's be a callback to episode 5,
Okay.
where I have I've struggled with PTSD. I still do. I kind of live with it. Um, but I know the feeling of fear and anxiety and depression well, probably too well. um, and I want this to be sort of a frame as to how I can maybe help someone out further. And this, in order to do so, I have to break down something that's probably gonna get sensitive if someone understands it. Um,
Okay.
so in order for me to do that, I need to break down what it feels like to panic attack. I need to bring you down into what fear does to you.
Before you continue,
Right?
I'm happy for you to share this
Mhm.
if you want to.
Mhm.
If you're consenting that you're happy to.
Mhm.
I am going to put another disclaimer on this episode.
Mhm.
I don't feel I don't feel a disclaimer is necessary for part one.
Oh no.
But I will be putting another disclaimer at the start of this one.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, no need to elaborate.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So my first, the first, I guess, trigger for a reason I now have or now live with PTSD, probably is the best word I can describe it, is I had a crappy experience in school with bullies that decided to use weapons. And I've had previous experience with other weapons as well in the past. Um, right. So, and the abilities for when you're in that experience and you're hopeless, you, you know, you're outnumbered. There's weapons involved. You are hopeless. You're ready to kind of be like, I'm out of this world. Um, even from a friend, even from like a threat context, when a blade is towards your throat or close to you, you are just it's really hard. It just sucks. There's no other way to describe it. You just feel hopeless, and you feel like you are going to die. Um, and I want to explain fear for the purpose of
Ooh,
that. One way or another, it's going to paralyze you. Not for like after the event as well. Um, like it's taken me years just to become normal again, normal-ish. I'm still not normal. Still, I was in normal.
use the word normal.
Uh,
I yeah, I don't necessarily enjoy using that word. Let's say back to yourself.
maybe that's probably a better word to describe it. Um, but in the process of certain triggers that come about during life. So if people were to get violent or aggressive, or you feel like you're gonna have a repeat of a certain situation. Sometimes what will happen, from my experience, is you'll have a flashback of the exact moment, and people's faces are projected onto those other faces. But like the person who's being aggressive is actually not them. It's the project. Your mind then projects your old history onto something else, and it's realistic. Well, so when it happens, like your palms will get sweaty. That'll be the first thing, that's sort of your first sort of trigger, like your first sort of warning sign. Then you'll get pins and needles. Pins and needles can get painful. Then your throat will go, and you'll lose your sense of breathing. Like you'll get constrained, and then you lose control of your limbs. by far the worst experience to have, because at that point you're at the mercy of somebody else. Like if you're around someone you can't trust, you're bugged. Um, so luckily, in the times that it's happened to me, I've been around people who I can trust. Um, and then you get to lock up. Lock up is, yeah, you're just stuck. You're almost caged in your own mind, um, and you kind of get stomach cramps. In my case, you'll get flashbacks, but you also have this sort of anxiety, all sort of stuff.
Right.
And then the issue really is that you're going to fit, and fit is, I don't even know how to describe a fit. It's just you're locked up, your throat's having spasms, your stomach's having spasms. Um, your breathing's out of it. Um, there's not a lot you can do. You're at the mercy of your mind. Um, however, you can cope with it. So what happened is I kind of took Bruce Wayne as my motivation to get better to a degree, in the fact that he embraces fear. So in able for me to get past a panic attack or anxiety, anything like that, I have to control breathing. So even before even before, so I said that in my reel, but like even before I got to Krav, I had to get this thing nailed down first. So I had to be able to control my breathing. Breathing kind of stops pins and needles.
Mm.
Um, and then once the pins and needles have gone, it takes a while. If it's gone bad, it takes a while. Um, and then this is kind of the time where I kind of have more comforting thoughts, like I said before. Like I sort of start painting, or I think I something like a building or something like
Mm.
that. Just to kind of control my mind a bit.
Mm.
You're still fighting with flashbacks at this point.
Mm.
Even though you're trying to think of something good, you're still fighting with just stuff, and it's just in front of you.
Mm.
Um, and then you sort of you gain control of your limbs again. But even then, like you're not quite there. Like sometimes you can't even stand, and that could take an hour sometimes just to kind of feel your limbs again and be able to stand again.
Yeah.
Um, and then it kind of after this point you're kind of back to normal to a degree. But I've had panic attacks in the past where I've had a panic attack in like late evening, but I haven't recovered for like a good day or 2 days. Like my stomach is on fire. It's almost like you got indigestion, it's like a nth degree.
Yeah.
Um, and you'll be nauseous sometimes afterwards, and it's there's nothing pleasant about it. But the thing is, like, as much as this sucks and having to deal with it, um, there's other ways where it's been positive, where because I haven't let it sort of stop me from doing stuff. Like, it's interesting. The first time I watched Batman Begins is the first time I decided to sort of go out to a club on my own and test myself.
Interesting. I didn't know about.
And again at the time, like if I'm going through a difficult situation, the most important thing I focus on is breathing. that'll be the one thing I always focus on. Like, if I am gonna lose it, I'll just be sort of like trying to breathe. Um, but also you will still get pins and needles, but most likely, and you probably lock up most likely. But once you breathe, you can kind of get past it. Um, and I couldn't start doing Krav if my mind wasn't right. Um, Krav at the time I'd researched it before. Krav Maga is probably best, so people know what it is. Researched it before. There's a particular exercise that they use, which is stress test.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to do this one because I didn't want to be in the situation I was that caused my PTSD, I guess. Again, or I wanted to sort of be less vulnerable to the idea of it. And the stress test at the time I knew I probably couldn't deal with. Kind of the reason I wanted to do it, because it was an uncomfortable situation that I knew would suck. um, but the first time I tested myself was at the club, and it was sort of controlled. Like, I was sort of in there for about an hour. I don't think I spoke much, to be honest. I feel I was just in the club, sort of embracing the environment, I guess, a bit. I don't think I sort of people said hello, but I didn't really do much clubby things, I guess, because I was on my own, and I kind of walked out. Um, and then I'll kind of try again in a couple of weeks, and this time around I'll be a bit more personal, a bit more. I'm going to try and have some more conversations and all that sort of stuff, and I can still keep calm. Again, I'm still dealing with those symptoms before everything happens, but I've got more of a track on it. And then George Lewis, mate of mine, finally talks me into going to my first club class, and I remember my first stress test. My first stress test was crap. We were doing choking fences. Um, and similar to attacks I had in the past. So even then, I was being triggered at the first sort of hurdle. Um, and I remember my first stress test. I was holding for panic attack at the time, and I knew I couldn't go down because I was in the class. So you're just. I think I was like hyperventilating slightly just to sort of like keep my mind clear, all this other stuff. And then the coolest thing happened after this first one, where as much as the technique wasn't clean, it worked. And this bloke who was stress testing me at the time was a big bloke. Now at the time I just started, so this wasn't full on. It was just enough to be triggered. To sort of be a triggering sort of thing. Yeah. And it's the first time where the pins and needles and the throat sort of disappeared. I'd done my technique, and it's the first time I kind of freed up. Which is kind of why Krav has always been is now an important part to me, because it's the first time where I was able to sort of embrace the situations that had caused me difficulties in the past and kind of mend them in the forefront. Um, and the disciplines, like, to be in a stressful situation and still be able to sort of work, is impressive. Because the stress tests only got more intense as you get better, which means you're gonna keep testing yourself more and more and more. But there's always one thing that they always say in Crab, that whenever we done a stress test, is to breathe. It's interesting why they say that. Like, if you're going to be in a crap situation, the best thing is to breathe. And the reason is like, if you're going through fight or flight and your limbs aren't working, you'll know you're stuffed. Like you're being attacked one way or another. But if your limbs are working and you're breathing and you're putting off the technique under pressure, you're doing better than most people. Because paralysis sucks. Like when you're trapped within your own head, it's a different experience entirely. Um, but I wanted to sort of speak to this as like, we have mental health going on right now,
Yeah.
and people have this kind of there's a weird sort of it's not a disconnect, but I don't think people so much understand too much about it. Like people brush off anxiety and depression and that sort of stuff and kind of think, oh, it's nothing much, and that sort of stuff, which is fine to a degree. People have to evolve. Like I couldn't have stayed in the form I was because otherwise I wouldn't have gone out of the house. I had to get stronger. I had to get better. Um, but like, you know, anxiety, depression, like um, it can stop you from going out, and I can understand why, because you're just locked in the state of sweatiness and pins and needles. You don't want to go out. Like but like also like social situations, I still get tired out really quickly. Um, that's okay. Again, it sucks. It's something I've got to live with. Um, but even like something as simple as get up in the morning, like I'm finding most of the time some form of pins and needles or some form of sweating or anything like that. That's generally my morning routine. And also sometimes tired because sometimes a memory flashback and I just don't sleep after that. That's okay. I mean, it's got better over time. It used to be really bad, but it's got better over time. And I think the only reason it's got better over time is because I've been so used to going to Krav. I just continuing to sort of push that boundary some more. Like, how much fear can I embrace? How much fear can I push back? And then, but like, if you're going to push back on your mental health and your anxiety, that fear idea has to be controlled.
Yeah.
Like if you go into a scenario where your fear is just out the window, you're gonna have a pants out and you're gonna go over. You have to bring it up slowly and then test if that the something that's too uncomfortable, go back. But you've got to go back there again. You can't just that's too uncomfortable. I can't go back there again. You have to, otherwise you can't. I put your words, but your words are better. You can't become yourself again. Um, enable for you to live through normal situations, like talking to people, all sort of stuff. Maybe you just meet two or three people, or one or one, and you get comfortable with one person.
Yeah.
Then you push up to two people. Then once you come to two people, then you push up to three people. And if you saw there are three people, go back to two, but still make that jump to go up to three. And then you jump up to your rooms. Then you jump up to the bigger the sort of the larger people around you sort of thing. Um, but I'd also bring this practice in regards to so my thought process with people now is there's a quote we got going where people are finding their own battles. It's fair, and I understand it. But I don't like the idea of people sort of sitting in their own fear, sitting in their own anxiety because it's because I know it.
Yes.
And I can feel it. To know to know what it feels like, and to know where people can be, I like to try and get people out of their shell. That's kind of how I do it. And then I'll learn who they are, learn
Yeah.
their issues, all sort of stuff. I don't. I don't. I, that's, I do. I've gained a lot of friends now recently. But my original thought process, my original time was who are my core group of friends, and then I'd talk to you, or I talk to Ryan, or talk to Zildjian, or Luke at the time. Those are my core people. And I got to know you guys, well, and I won't lie. There's times where I would test you, Luke, Zildjian, all out for personal reasons. Is that bad? Possibly. Um,
Mm.
but was it necessary? I think so, because I think where we are now as a whole is a lot stronger. I think we even Ryan right now. I remember.
Friendship has been through a lot,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Um, but there's an interesting scenario recently that I didn't anticipate, where I built myself up so much that a friend of mine was struggling recently, and they thought I didn't struggle. And
Right.
which is interesting. I never thought I had that effect on somebody. So when they were going through issues, they didn't feel like they could talk to me because they didn't think I struggled. So having that conversation with him opened me up to the idea that, oh shit, I've maybe gone too far. Maybe I've overcorrected. But we're now having conversations now that are a lot more, a lot more like, if here's a problem, we'll talk to each other. We may not be able to solve the problem together, but at least we're sharing the weight. And it's the same with you that I do with you. So I'll share the weight with you, and I'll share it with Zildjian. Um, I don't want to carry everyone's problems, but at the same time, as a friend, is right to sort of like share the weight between everybody. That's kind of the way I see it. Um, but yeah, don't let people get stuck in fear and anxiety. Like, if you can tell, like, if you yourself are struggling with mental health, all that sort of stuff, it kind of sounds bad, but I don't mean it intentionally. Like, if you find someone struggling with like similar issues to you, maybe go to them, and then use each other as a sort of like springboard to then get better. But also at the same time, if you need to go to a counsellor, please do. I went to a counsellor almost not too late, but it was a late point in my time where I went to a counsellor. Um, Although I do want to correct one statement that I made in episode 5, and I said that I wasn't going to a counsellor um, as of recently, and I said that I'd go back. But having thought it through some more, I noticed that I wasn't taking responsibility for some of the actions I was because I was going to a counsellor. I was sort of, my counsellor became like my backbone. If I missed a counsellor, I would sometimes act out. And I wasn't taking responsibility for sort of acting out sometimes.
I
So
see.
what I've done now is I'm very much comfortable to where I am. I can move around freely. It's probably the worst description I can make.
Mm.
But the responsibility is on me at the end of the day in regards to how I act around people. And does that mean I have my guard up sometimes? Yeah, for sure. I will. There's some part of the guard that I will continue to have, because it's kept me sort of alive, I don't know, for lack of a better term. But once that guard is down, I think I can trust you. I'll bring you in, but I will bring you in over time. I'm not a quick. I've never been like a quick friend person. Like I take a couple of months or like a good couple of years before I kind of go, yeah, you're a good friend of mine. I can trust you, sort of thing. It takes me a while, and that'll be me. That'll be me for however long I'm on the earth for. But there's also another thing that I want to speak about as well, where when you come close to when you come close to the mortal coil, I guess, you kind of appreciate life a bit more, like smaller things, like wild camping, sort of like something just having the simple things like a bed, a water, some food, and some shelter. Just sort of like just appreciating the fact you've got those is awesome, because life by its very nature is precious.
Yes.
So
Most precious thing.
yes, like you're a miracle to be here. If someone's going to cause you harm, and we'll fight off that bastard. And also like I mentioned it briefly before, where if someone's going through issues and they try to cause you harm, don't be paralyzed by it. Like if they're gonna cause you harm, defend yourself. There's this weird sort of paradigm right now where we don't want to do that.
I get that.
But of course, to a point, you don't want to go around attacking everybody and everybody. Right? If they are crossing a certain line in your mind, where you think you're in, it's a little bit in danger, sort of thing, and they may have gone through issues in the past. Don't don't paralyze yourself. Like if you need to, do so, but also make sure you got the right judgment to do so. But yeah, no, I think that's what I am. I'm in a far better position now. I've kind of come to terms with the idea that I won't be clear of it for whatever reason. What what it is seems to evolve. Like if you get past one hurdle, something more subtle will.
There's always another.
Yeah, something more subtle will arrive. Maybe it's not as open as to sort of panic attacks or other stuff. But like,
I always expect that hurdle to come.
Yeah, and there were times where it will catch you out, and it's gonna suck. And when it does suck, that's okay. Just as long as you don't let it beat you. As long as you don't let it beat you. Yeah. But you have got to function in some way or another. You have got to be able to go out to work. You have got to be able to sort of go out and socialise. You have got to be able to sort of create relationships, and all those things are scary, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You've just got to suck up a bit.
Thank you for saying that it's scary.
Yeah.
Because I would have, if not. I'm very glad that you did. Not everyone is confident enough to achieve these things.
No.
That could be something developed from a very young age.
Yeah.
Yes, it helps us become human and it helps us become stronger. It's by no means an easy thing.
No.
You could naturally be the most extroverted, outgoing individual, and you could still have an element of fear interacting with something. Someone, something.
Yeah.
It is normal to be afraid. So, yes, naturally, obstacles in one's life would be normal to experience, and naturally that would be hard. When things are hard and we can't immediately confront them, sometimes that billows down to either I fight this thing, as in not a physical fight, as in just like I tackle it.
Yeah.
I face this head on and I deal with it. So you develop, you persist, and you try and find a way forward from it. And that can develop many things. It could develop vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
It could develop an attribute about you that you view as a weakness.
Yeah.
It could develop you something stronger.
Yeah.
Either I've done this.
Yeah.
Cover. The alternative is the flight. You go the other way.
Yeah.
You walk away. You can't do it. You don't see how you can. So you run, you hide, you avoid it.
Yeah.
And that's when fear develops.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, granted, you can develop fear from the fight, from the response of tackling head on. You have a bad, you get through it, but you have a bad experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you. When you run away from something, it sticks with you. Why did you run away?
Yeah.
To save your own life?
Yeah.
To save someone else? Fair enough.
Yeah.
But to constantly avoid things, to constantly run away, it creates an absence of the human psyche for you to be able to adapt.
Yeah, no.
To overcome. Therefore, fear would develop. Now, I'll stop talking because I presume you want to talk on, carry on.
No, so I wanted to sort of speak. Actually, I wanted to use the Thomas Rain quote.
Yeah, guys, remember?
But it's a driving force for Bruce Wayne, I guess, and and Alfred. You know, why do we fall? So we can learn to get back up. Like that's by far the best quote in the world. Like, yeah, sure, I've had a bad experience in the past. That's fine. However, I had some difficulties trying to push past it. However, learn to get back up. Learn to sort of embrace whatever that thought was and just get back up and keep on going. You know, when
It's so easy.
yeah, when Bruce is mansion is burning and Batman Begins and Alfred, it follows Bruce down to the cave, and Bruce's quote I think is like, "Have I made the right choice?" And Alfred at the time goes to Bruce and goes, "Why do we fall, Bruce?" So you can learn to get back up, and I think that's Bruce's initial start to go, "Okay, I need to get back up on this. Like I am doing the right. I need to sort of keep on going." Um, and you know, again, you're gonna make mistakes. Life is gonna just, life will just give you problems that you're gonna make mistakes with, and that's okay. Um, if it's necessary, I say necessary because sometimes people want to be bastards. But anyway, if it's necessary, take responsibility. If it's not, back yourself up. Because no one else will do. Like no one's going to save you. You're on your own, one way or another. You have to deal with something on your own. You have to deal with it on your own. There are people that you can go and speak to people, but at the end of the day, it's on you. You have to form the strength to push forward.
Yeah.
On your own terms, and if that means making mistakes, all right, fine. If that means you go for it with no problems, cool. But
Yeah. Well, I'll chime in if that's okay. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for sharing. That's very brave of you to share all of that. I was very much in awe for most of that. I'd say you're very personal there. about certain experiences that not even I was aware of. And I'm sure we will be discussing this after the podcast ends. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'll chime in specifically now to the second part. You said you have to look after yourself and depend on yourself. You have to stick up for yourself. No one's coming. I think it's apt to speak from my experience. That I am very much someone that does not have faith in himself. Now, this is something I'm working on with a lot of help. For the longest time, I viewed myself as someone that needed to conform, to make others happy, to make me happy.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Now, when someone laughed at something or was happy with what I did, I thought I was doing something. Was it necessarily something I wanted to do? Not always. I'd say, as an example, well, when it came to education, it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to learn, so that was fine. Whereas, if it was the way that the way that I did certain things in school, i.e., conform to this mentality of groups. Because in schools, I've called it a big episode one callback. Social jungles.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that there was almost a pecking order in the story, like the class of students, the year students, and they expected you to do certain things.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I am going to try and weave this back to the case study of. Bear with me. There was a time where we were approaching young adolescency, so young adulthood. There were certain things that people started to do, becoming more independent. They started doing certain things. They started skiving off of school. I'm not going to beat about the bush with certain things here. Skiving off of school, saying nasty things about teachers. Um, it wasn't nice, and I think the one that I wanted to speak about the most was bullying. I viewed it as sides. You're either a bullier or the bullied.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. Yeah.
Now, there were moments in school where people told me to say certain things to certain people.
Yeah.
Now, did I see it? No. Um, was that the way that was going to make me less exposed, or exposed is a better term? Yeah. Unfortunately, it was. Conforming to that.
Yeah.
If I did what they told me to do, if they say you've got to do this to this certain person, otherwise you're not cool. You didn't do this, you're not cool.
Yeah.
Then you're not one of us. And I didn't like that. I wanted to. At that moment, I was like, well, I'm uncomfortable conforming to this. And then I realized the thing that I thought was making me happy, conforming to people all the time, making everyone else in my life happy, to make me happy, wasn't the way. Now, unfortunately, this constant stuck with me for a very long time, because I rejected my own ethic, my own way of seeing things in school. Or like, no, I reject your idea of belittling this person or belittling that person or saying ill about this thing. Just like, why are we being nasty? Because we're meant to be nasty. That made me a target.
Yeah.
It made me quite unhappy. People called me the quiet one, the nerd.
Yeah.
I remember crystal clear, two instances of my time in school, and I hope everyone's listening to this. Number one, the end of year 11, when I and many others were dubbed the worst group in the school. Conforming all that time to make people happy, to then be labelled as the weirdest and the worst of the social groups was like, it didn't make me grow hatred, it made me grow fear.
Yeah.
That I would constantly be bottom of importance of need of value.
Yeah.
I think that was the better term, to not be needed, to be worthless. The second moment, and probably the worst, was the finale to everything, to secondary school, and that was prom.
Oh yeah.
I felt stuck out like a sore thumb. Arriving to prom was fine, but actually experiencing it, no, there was a few people that went out of their way to talk to me, which was so lovely of them. And I, at that moment, all the people around me, I just thought, I don't know what you think of me now. I've tried so much, so hard to prove myself that I don't know how to approach people, and I was really scared.
Yeah.
So I spent most of the evening sat outside, not talking to anyone.
Yeah.
Not even my friends. They sat with me, but we weren't talking to one another. Don't know if they had the same opinion of prom. Probably not. But I look back on that day and it reminds me of why sometimes conforming to other people and trying to make everyone in your life happy is not good, because it will make you afraid.
Yeah.
The most important person in your world, yourself.
Yeah. I kind of had a different perspective on that to a degree. I mean, I kind of went the opposite way, to be honest. Like we had our group in school, um, but I definitely did not fit in at all. I think definitely differently. I know that now. Um, but I kind of came out of school and I was kind of isolated. I was kind of isolated anyway. And I've kind of got used to it to a degree. Like I'm kind of used to the isolation, um, which means I can speak on certain subjects that people are kind of afraid to speak on. This is also, um, but this isn't just. I'm just gaining this thing over the.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gained that first inner strength before I hadn't even passed through getting past what I live with now, sort of thing. Like I have to pass through that and able to kind of speak out on those topics because I know I am going to make everyone happy, and I've seen the worst messages sent. I've seen the crappiest messages sent to me, sort of thing. I boil it down to human nature, and that kind of that kind of goes a little bit into Joker to a degree. But I'm not going to make everyone happy. I'll keep my important group
Yeah.
tight. But if people are going to send death threats and whatnot and all this kind of stuff, I don't really feel much of it anymore. Like, I don't. If someone's going to be crap towards me, I don't really feel much. The only scenario in which I feel a lot is if I'm being, if I'm about to physically kind of being up sort of thing.
I see. Yeah.
But if someone sends me like a couple of words or that stuff, and they're going, you're not really a threat to me, in the grand scheme of things.
The advice of a good man given to me.
Yeah.
No word ever spoken
No.
will hurt you.
No.
It is you that you processing those words, you choose to let them hurt you.
Yeah.
And that resonated. That was very recently. That really resonated with me. It's just like, in theory, he's right.
Yeah.
No word ever spoken. That's the saying. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. Very true.
I need to probably refine that statement slightly because, like, when they're first sent, yeah, for sure, they definitely suck.
Oh, yeah.
But after the process of how I get past them is a lot quicker, maybe than most people. I don't know. Like, I get sent like a crappy message sometimes for whatever reason. I don't know. Small things. I don't know. But it takes you half an hour to kind of go, all right, that sucks. I'll move on, sort of thing. And then after that, I wake up the following day and nothing's ever happened, sort of thing. Like, I live my life a day by day. So if I've had a crap day one day, I wake up the following morning and it's as if I kind of forget that day. If that day's gone that badly,
It takes a while to get there, I would say.
yeah.
And I'll jump in to evolve what I basically said about my experience at school. It continued for years and years after. It's very much the definition of insanity. Trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
It didn't work that one time, but I've got a new environment, so you must be new. I was trying the same thing in a new environment. Of course, it didn't work. And I kept on going and going and going. And I saw no merit in myself because I had no faith in myself. I am someone that despises conflict in every constant. I firmly believes in standing up for oneself physically. If you're backed into a corner and you must defend yourself, then so be it. But I love the power of words, and I try and resolve conflict rather than face it head on. Which for many people in my life, they have called me a coward. They have called me a wet flannel. They have called me a hypocrite for not facing conflict and always buckling when it's heading, because I hate aggression towards me.
Yeah.
So I never stood up for myself. I always was like, you're right. I am a bad person. Or you're right. Okay. Even though I wanted to say how I felt, your opinion is more valid than mine because I don't want to upset you.
Yeah.
So that basically is evident of why it's difficult to get to the stage. However, am I still like that now? No, I'm not.
You're definitely not.
Funny very much MJ media being produced currently. Um, how did I get there?
A lot of pace.
You went to, you fell.
Yeah.
I felt like,
Yeah.
like we're going to compare this to. I told you I was getting and when it gets you hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kept on doing the same thing until it very much broke me as a person. And it put me into a state of psychosis. And you know about this. You do. I spoke to you about this.
Yeah.
And as you have spoken about yours, I will speak up about mine. I don't remember it in detail, and that's the haunting thing about it. My memory is very clouded about that, and that makes me more nervous about it. Again, there.
Also as mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I say about ways, like I've only got one specific detail that just sucks.
I remember my head just getting to the point where everything was just so volatile, so cramped and claustrophobic, that all I could do was just let out this awful screech, this violent emotional cry that let out every. I felt every part of my body shake. All I could do was cry, and cry even more and more and more. It got to the point where my face was so salty and dry and creased that no more tears would come. And I basically thought I must have dehydrated myself with the amount I cried. And then I stood up and I still felt my thoughts overpower me, and my legs literally went limp and my head went into a state of nausea. I felt the whole world spin. You buckled. I hit a bin. I fell over. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't. But when I hit the floor, I got back up. Was that my moment of rebirth? Absolutely not. Because when I got back up, the psychosis began, and my head, all of my words after that were very childish, very babyish, very, very comical. It was awful. I was in such a state of hurt that I learned afterwards my head regressed into a childish state, into the state of my life where I lost all comfort, which was my childhood. So I spoke very childish. I spoke very babyish. I was just like, everything's fine. Okay. Because the pain was too great. My brain took it away from me. I look back on that day with fear, if we're going on the theme here, to never ever repeat what I experienced that day. It was the worst moment of my life, period. And the fact that all of my moments I spoke to people afterwards, therapists and friends included, showed me how I got to that stage. I then realized it's because, for the love of everything in this world, I had no love for myself. I saw nothing in the mirror. I viewed myself as weak. I viewed myself as I could be doing more. I have more at my disposal. I could be doing more all the time, even though it's exhausting me. People around me telling me, you need to stop hiding from these things. You need to face this. You think you're doing the right thing, but are you happy? You truly, the parallels to Batman here are insane. I'm Bruce Wayne! But like, come on, let's say Bruce is doing the same. Alfred, Rachel, Gordon are basically saying like, yo, are you doing the right thing by you? Like, you are very much breaking yourself as a person to save others because you're afraid of yourself. you're afraid of confronting you. That you've embraced constant fear
Yeah.
to drive yourself forward, but you're ignoring yourself.
Yeah.
So from that moment onwards, and from many points in my life, I then moved forward, and it was the worst feeling ever to acknowledge I had made very big mistakes in my life. Did I accept those mistakes? 100%.
Yeah.
Because again, why do we fall?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't, if the acceptance of learning and trying to improve and adapt cannot come without you stepping out of your own way,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm.
it's very scary.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the scariest thing you'll ever do.
Mm.
But you need the right people around you when you do it,
Yeah.
whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's a therapist, whereas it's just anything or anyone to talk to. You need people. You can't do these things alone.
Mm.
As Wayne found out,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises, he tried to do it all by himself. It
Mm.
broke him, body and soul, thrown to the bottom of the pit,
Mm.
essentially. And yes, he got back out of the pit, but he got back out of the pit with the help of others.
Yeah.
He embraced the teachings of the doctor, of the doctor's apprentice as well.
Yeah.
If he didn't listen to them, he would have unalived.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
made it out of the pit.
No.
He
No.
listened to them. He embraced their teachings. He embraced everything. I'm not saying there are like you've got to do this and that and embrace people what people tell you to. There'll be advice that is given to you that is not quite right and it doesn't vibe with you, but there will be advice that you do resonate with. But if I am to speak it out from personal experience,
Mhm.
and I suppose in an aid to bring somewhat of a little bit of comfort,
Mm.
in order to make others happy, which is what I love doing,
Mhm.
which is what I tried to do, you need to make yourself happy first.
Yeah.
A cup is not full without you being whole first,
Mm. Yeah. No, that's true.
you know?
Mm.
And when you are happy, you can start to become a radiator
Mm.
and exude this kindness and this warmth and this aura that makes other people happy. If you're
Mm.
doing what you love and you're happy with who you are, people will smile. The right people will smile. Hence, the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
That you know, I wanted to come to. I go,
Yeah.
Alfred saying, "I will be happy, Mr. Wayne, when you are happy."
Mm.
I wanted to do a Michael Caine impression.
Yeah.
When you're maybe another day. Yes. I don't want to sit down on a restaurant, glance across and see you. Raise my glass, give a little nod, and let you carry on.
Yeah.
Such a poetic ending.
Mm.
And Wayne at that moment was just like, well, that's not going to happen. I'm not going
Yeah.
to let myself be happy again. Rachel's gone. I'm going to embrace him Batman. And then the Batman was destroyed.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne remained.
Mm.
And then obviously he passed the mantle to Robin.
Yeah.
And then again, he was sat across the street with Selina and he raised his glass to Alfred.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He's not only has he used fear to get to where he is now, he embraced it and he has overcome it.
Yeah.
And that is an example of how someone can get to that point.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's possible.
Mm.
But it's sort of it's nothing was ever achieved that Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing was ever achieved without struggle and sacrifice.
Mhm.
Um
Like the chances are you'll be like crawling through metaphorical broken glass sort of thing just to get yourself up to sane again. Um, and that's okay. I mean, yeah, it'll suck, but again, that's that's okay. You got to embrace a little bit of that at least.
mm,
Embrace a little bit of that uncomfortableness and sort of go with it. I mean,
It repaints your past. It doesn't change what you've done. It
yeah.
change the
Oh, no.
mistakes that you've made, not by a long shot.
No.
But the way that you see it, you understand the beauty of it. Is you understand yourself
Mm.
more. You don't understand others because you could puzzle about others' decisions for days and days and days and go,
Yeah.
you could look at yourself though and go, I know why I did that.
Yeah.
Look, that's not a bad thing because I may be the same person, but I can see that I was young, I was learning, I was raw, you know, I didn't understand, but now I do. Those people weren't good for me.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That thing in my life wasn't good for me.
Mm.
I may have loved it. I may still do.
Mm.
But is that good for me? You know, I need to be happy myself, and that was preventing me.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. So this is. This is the episode where I kind of wanted to give like a framework to sort of help someone else out if they're dealing with sort of issues like this, because I think it's the main sort of it's an important thing again. I like the important topics and such.
And I,
And I heard, again, I kind of say the same thing I did last time. Around, like either short term or long term. I hope someone comes across this and they can evolve through it or get past it. And it'd be cool to hear some sort of success stories. But if it never happens, so be it. If it does, awesome.
and I will continue with that statement. When I say, welcome to MJ Media,
Yeah,
welcome to Me Time,
yeah,
please stay, not for the benefit of us, but for your entertainment and your enjoyment. It's a safe space. I encourage so much creativity, almost infinite creativity, but I also am an advocate for enjoyment, love, and laughter. And that's what we're all about.
No.
Me time is very much we talk about these things, we talk about experience, we talk about the things that we like,
Mm,
but we also talk about the things that make us grow into who we are. And
yeah,
we will continue to talk about that on Me Time.
yeah,
And sorry, grammatical. Elliot and I are by no means there. We're by no means perfect. No one ever
no,
is, you
no,
know.
no.
That's what I'm saying. We're constantly learning and evolving day by day, and that's the
Mm,
beauty of it. Me time will constantly learn and evolve,
yeah,
as will MJ Media. So I hope you're ready for the ride because I'm embracing it. But like this isn't trying to be an advertisement. What I'm saying, like if you need somewhere to relax and to realize that the greatness that you were looking for all along was in yourself, then here is but one place on the internet out of many other places you can stay.
yeah,
And I'm not saying that because there's so many other channels. Like I could name hundreds on the back of my hand. I was like, you should watch these guys. Watch the what, and then that becomes advice, and it's just like, nah, no,
yeah. No, I mean, I want to adjust your statement slightly because I know, like, your self statement is very much repeated quite a lot these days. And while it's important, you know, be strong for yourself, but try to help others if you can.
oh yeah,
Like if again, if you can, but also if you can't, just try and struggle through it. Like even if you don't understand them, try to. Don't be afraid to say what you think, even if you make a mistake by doing so. Just try and understand what someone's lived through first. Then maybe if you want to, disagree with them or not disagree with them, or agree with them or not disagree with them, sort of thing. The only way that we're gonna solve issues and solve problems is by having uncomfortable conversations.
yes.
And that means that people are going to get upset, and some people won't get upset, and that's okay. Um, but as long as it's civil, no one's biting each other's heads off because they're in disagreement. It's like we're not going to move forward doing that, and we're in a stage now. We're in a more important stage now.
Yeah.
That we need to move forward and get issues solved because it's getting too much.
But the way I'm bringing it full circle for our topic of Batman
Yeah.
is that we've spoken a lot about how fear can be used for responsibility.
Mm.
I really appreciate that we have not really touched on the fear for power,
Mm.
but it is becoming quite evident in some of the experiences that we've had. People use fear of others to boost themselves up to make them seem more confident.
Yeah.
Like I've reduced this person to the shell of themselves.
Yeah.
Look how capable I am as well.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, Constance in the Batman universe, like Ra's al Ghul,
Yeah.
the Joker, Bane. They use fear
Mm.
to boost themselves up,
Yeah.
to make them seem stronger than they actually are, but
Mm.
inevitably they have that weakness.
Yeah.
Batman uses fear as power. Most definitely he
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
People are scared of the Batman
Mm.
because of how ruthless he is.
Mm.
How he has got one rule that he will unalive people,
Mm.
but the extent that he'll go to break you, body and soul.
Yeah.
Like he will not stop
Mm.
until he finds you.
Mm.
The most ruthless hero above the law. Of course, criminals are scared of him, so he uses that power to say, like, don't be. I was going to say a swear word there.
Mm.
Don't be nasty. Don't do bad things because I'm coming for you. But that I can't wait to come to episode 10. Version of the beast like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always be the case.
Mm.
Yes, sometimes fear through power has prevented bad people doing bad things.
Mm.
Is that the case all the time? 100% not.
Yeah.
Responsibility must be taken with fear.
Mm.
Otherwise, it can get the better of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like Scarecrow,
Mm.
a very underrated villain
Yeah.
in the Batman universe. Very much uses his fear.
Yeah.
Like we would be very foolish not to do this episode without talking about Scarecrow.
Yeah.
He shows people the greatest fear
Mm.
and it breaks them. The thing I like about Scarecrow in this universe,
Mm.
the Dark Knight trilogy, as well as we'll touch on the Arkhamverse in episode 10.
Mm.
His fear is a demonized Batman.
Mm.
The person that overcame his power of fear.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you not getting affected by the gas? My power.
Yeah.
Instantly became afraid of Batman.
Yeah.
That is very much. It's what there is very much a term for it. He became his own worst enemy.
Mm.
If you do the same thing over and over and over again, and you always succeed, and then someone comes along and you fail, your whole world comes crashing down,
Mm.
and you become afraid of the thing in front of you. Like, how could you do this? I don't understand. In a very literal sense, his fear that he has used to exploit people becomes his ultimate end.
Mm. Yeah.
And he essentially becomes obsolete for the rest of the trilogy, which is a shame because he was such a cool villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Begins, and he very briefly appears in the Dark Knight Rises, but not very well. Is what it is. Yeah, I heard it was supposed to be the Joker in the court scene. I heard it was supposed to be Heath Ledger Joker, who was like the judge. And jury.
Yeah.
That would have made sense, but never mind. Brain made sense there, but
Yeah.
the thing is, when you use fear to make yourself powerful, exploit other people's fear to make yourself powerful, it is always a means to an end.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
You can stand up for yourself, and obviously people will back away and say, like, okay, I understand. Okay, I understand you.
Mhm.
But someone eventually will see through it
Yeah.
and go past it and call you out,
Mm.
whether that's physical or mental, and then that will test you.
Yeah.
And in those moments, prepare to fall
Yeah.
and to pull yourself back up again,
Mm.
because those are going to be the moments that test you.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
but then I thought it was appropriate to talk about that,
Mm.
because because we can't ignore that strand of this episode.
No.
This because we spoke of myself and yourself of talking about responsibility of
Mm.
for basically 75% of this podcast.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to talk about the other side of it,
Mm.
as much as it's not nice.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure. No. Yeah, no, definitely sort of like, I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again, like, life is no easy road. It's gonna beat you to your knees.
yep,
And and it will suck every time, but if you can just crawl or scrape yourself back up and just keep on standing, you're doing better than quite a few people.
mm,
Um, and all, try not to be the one that sort of was just sort of uh, isn't even trying anymore. Isn't the wrong word I'm after. You know, don't be defeated by it. I don't know. However hard it gets, call on the people who you can trust most.
yeah,
Keep walking a hill. Scraping up that hill. Keep taking those hits because they're going to keep on coming. But as long as as if you can stand back up and keep stand still, you're doing all right.
yeah. And it took me a while to understand that,
Mm.
you know, but it's possible. Believe me, when you're at your lowest point, you're subject to the greatest possible change.
Mm.
I'm not saying push yourself to your lowest point. And again, I will say before I forget, it's easy to be negative. Humans would not have got where they were as a race today
Mm.
if the first Stone Age man or the first person,
Mm.
whatever, wherever, whether the first existence, was um, negative.
Mm.
I need to be able to survive by rejecting this.
Mm.
I'm scared of this predator. I'm scared of what could harm me. I'm scared of this rule against me. They will the other way. If that person did not survive, we won't be where we were today.
Mm.
Back then it was physical threats, and now it's mental.
I think it's both now.
Well, physical, yes. I'm not saying like the physical is obsolete.
Yeah,
Because
no.
there's so many physical threats in the world.
Yeah.
But in day-to-day life, obviously, you're not going to walk down the street and get whacked by a person around the face.
Oh no.
Or if you go to some places in the world, I assume that you're more likely to be like berated with words than you are with texts.
True.
So yes, it's easy to be negative because to be positive, it's difficult because you
Mm.
have to face these things that could harm you.
Mm.
If you're negative, you avoid it,
Yeah.
but then you get stuck,
Mm.
stuck in this rut.
Yeah.
And then the positivity, it's look, believe me, it's really hard. It's really hard to be positive sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But when you embrace it, when you try to see moments, there's a film that I like, and this is probably going to be cheesy for man. It's a
Mm.
film called About Time.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah.
You have?
Mm.
There's not, yeah. First of all, there's not many rom-coms I like. Like, point one, I do, because the theme of it is he's a time traveler and he can go back in time to certain moments
Mhm.
to literally repeat the day.
Mhm.
And it's even longer. The first comedy part of it is that he uses it to get himself a girlfriend,
Mm.
know what she likes. But then he realizes in the end, no matter what he does, he goes back in time. There are certain things he cannot change,
Mm.
no matter what he does. Sometimes going back in time will solve nothing.
Mm.
Then it gets to a point in his life where he's miserable.
Yeah.
And then his dad, who can also time travel, because it's like an inherent thing for the male side of the family only, he pulls him to one side and he goes, "Do you want to know what the true power of this time travel is?
Mm-hmm.
It's not to get what you want, it's to experience life how it was meant to be experienced." So he told him, "Go about a really stressful day, go about your day."
Mm.
And then it plays a sequence. He's stressed. He goes to work. He's mega stressed. He goes home. He's mega stressed with his children, his wife. He's just really unhappy. And he said, "You brilliant. You've done that. Go to bed. Rewind. Go back 24 hours and repeat that same day again.
Mm.
Pick out the things that make you smile. Don't focus on the negatives of the day. Focus on the positives." And what follows is literally a montage of the exact same day. But as soon as he starts picking out the things that make him smile, the rest of his day becomes more positive.
Yeah.
And when he's had a positive day at work, he goes home to his children and his wife happy.
Mm.
When at that moment, it just showed me just like life is not meant to be a part of stress. It's meant to be fun.
Mm.
I remember one of my favorite bits was he's a lawyer. His job is being a lawyer, and he won the case. But he was just like, "Oh my God, thank goodness he actually did it.
Yeah.
Like this is a serious moment." And in that moment, when he repeated it, he literally punched the sky. He started threatening the magistrate's wigs off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was just like, "Get in, get in." I was just like, he's a he's viewing it as a very stressful thing. We're just like, "Yeah, you did it." This is it made it lifted him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know why I said about this in a Batman thing, but I felt that was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Life in a positive lens is so lovely because you experience in it its true raw beauty.
Mm.
And yes, it's hard to get there, but it's so possible.
Mm.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have hope in humanity, even though they could have asked something.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hope in humanity.
Mm.
I think that's quite apt of Batman as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. What another doozy.
Yeah.
Episode 5 2.0.
What?
Yeah. So I think it brings it to a close.
Yeah. No. I think.
If you're content with ending that,
Yeah. No. I think.
and I will speak again and I'll say thank you for sharing,
Mm.
Elliot. Thank you for being open.
Yeah.
This is the place for it.
Mm.
It's a safe space here. We know that the NJ Media will be nothing but creativity, fun, laughter. So yeah, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Covered.
hey,
I think we're covered.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, next in me time, episode 9, as episode 8, part 1 and part 2 is done.
Yep.
Episode 9, we will be talking about a certain individual who wrote the trilogy and throughout the entire Batman universe, the DC universe, is one of the most famous villains and antagonists to oppose the ideology of the Batman,
Yeah.
where there is an agent of good, as we have discussed,
Mm-hmm.
using wealth for responsibility and in terms of misguided power, but also necessary. That the other, there will always be an opposing force. There will always be something about this world and humanity that you can't change, and that's dark and evil nature.
Yeah.
Enter the Joker.
Yeah.
Episode 9. We're going to unpack that insanity.
Give me a good one.
Yeah.
Good one. No.
He's one of my favorite villains because he's mad.
Yeah.
He's mad. We'll get to talk about one of my favorite portrayals of him of all time, Heath Ledger, absolute legend. It's just incredible his acting, his acting range. But we are going to try and unpack the Joker, the relationship he has with Batman, also why he needs the Batman.
Mm.
Without the Batman in his life, the Joker would be unimportant.
Mm.
And so we'll see where there is evil, there is good, and there will always be a balance, and they will always fight one another.
Mm. Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
So that's episode 9. next Saturday at 7 o'clock.
Mhm.
We hope you have enjoyed the episode 8. And again, for this episode in particular, links in the comments, disclaimer at the start of the episode. You guys aren't alone in this. You don't ever have to be. We're all here for you. And there are so many people out there who are there for you as well. Okay?
Keep your friends close, keep your family close. Yeah.
Friends and family are there to help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right then.
You ready, mate?
Yeah.
Good.
See you
See you in
soon.
the next episode.
See you soon, everyone.